The Bloodsucker of Chernobyl. Fact or fiction? Picture this. An abandoned city, silent streets, the creeping grasp of nature reclaiming its space, and somewhere in the shadows, something lurks. Today, we're diving deep into one of the creepiest legends to come out of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, the infamous Bloodsucker of Chernobyl. Chernobyl's history already gives us chills, right? But add a bloodthirsty creature into the mix, and we've got ourselves one heck of a mystery. Is there any truth behind this terrifying legend? Are there really creatures mutated by radiation roaming the deserted streets? Or is it all just smoke and mirrors? The Chernobyl disaster, a brief overview. Back on April 26, 1986, at precisely 1:23 a.m., reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine exploded during a safety test gone horribly wrong. The explosion released massive amounts of radioactive particles into the atmosphere, which spread over parts of the Soviet Union and Europe. It was, and remains, the worst nuclear disaster in history. In the aftermath, authorities established what's known today as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, a roughly 2,600 square kilometer area that's been largely uninhabited for over 3 decades. Residents were evacuated, leaving behind homes, schools, and memories. Nature began to reclaim the land, creating a hauntingly beautiful yet eerie landscape. The atmosphere there is unlike anything else, silent, still, and somewhat otherworldly. It's no wonder that stories and legends began to sprout from this place. The birth of myths and legends. It's a curious thing, how catastrophic events often give rise to myths and legends. When something so unimaginable happens, people naturally search for explanations, often turning to stories that can make sense of the chaos. Psychologists say that urban legends serve a purpose. They're a way for communities to process trauma, fears, and the unknown. In the case of Chernobyl, the exclusion zone became a blank canvas for the imagination. Tales of mutated animals, ghost towns inhabited by spirits, and yes, terrifying creatures like the Bloodsucker began to emerge. Maybe it's the human way of personifying the invisible threat of radiation. After all, you can't see it, but its effects are pervasive and lasting. Unveiling the Bloodsucker legend. Now, let's get into the meat of the matter, the Bloodsucker itself. According to the legend, the Bloodsucker is a humanoid creature, standing taller than the average person, with distorted features resulting from severe mutations. Descriptions often include elongated limbs, gnarled fingers ending in sharp claws, pale, almost translucent skin, and eyes that glow faintly in the dark. But perhaps the most chilling detail? It supposedly feeds on the blood of its victims, much like a vampire from folklore. The origins of this legend are a bit fuzzy. Some trace it back to anecdotes from workers involved in the cleanup operations after the disaster. These workers, exposed to high levels of radiation and enduring grueling conditions, allegedly began reporting sightings of strange creatures lurking in the ruins. Over time, these stories spread, getting embellished and sensationalized along the way. Eyewitness accounts and testimonies. You might be wondering, have people actually seen this creature? Well, there are several alleged eyewitness accounts floating around. One story goes like this. A group of explorers decided to sneak into the exclusion zone. One night, while camping near the outskirts of Pripyat, they heard strange noises. One of them claimed to see a tall, shadowy figure moving between the trees. They cut their trip short and hightailed it out of there. Another account tells of a local villager who ventured too close to the zone's border. He reported seeing a creature matching the Bloodsucker's description. But here's the thing, none of these stories can be verified. They're anecdotal at best, shared online or passed down through word of mouth. We have to ask ourselves, are these tales the result of overactive imaginations, or is there something more? Scientific perspective on mutations in wildlife. Time to put on our science hats. Radiation can indeed cause mutations in living organisms. In the years following the disaster, scientists have studied the flora and fauna within the exclusion zone extensively. They've observed some fascinating things. Some bird species have developed higher levels of antioxidants to combat radiation. Population sizes of certain animals have increased due to the absence of humans. But importantly, these mutations are generally subtle, not the dramatic, monstrous changes that legends describe. Dr. Anders Mahler notes that radiation can increase mutation rates, it doesn't result in fantastical creatures. Evolution and mutation don't work that way. So, while the exclusion zone is a living laboratory showing nature's resilience and adaptability, it's not spawning blood-sucking mutants. The role of media and pop culture. Let's talk about how media shapes our perceptions. Video games like Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, feature creatures called bloodsuckers, stealthy monsters that can turn invisible and attack players. These games, along with movies and books, have taken inspiration from the mystery surrounding Chernobyl, blending fact with fiction to create compelling narratives. The internet amplifies this effect. Online forums, creepypastas, and YouTube channels can spread these legends quickly. A photo taken at an odd angle or a video with strange noises can go viral, adding fuel to the fire. We have to remember that not everything we see or read online is verified. In the age of Photoshop and deepfakes, skepticism is our friend. Debunking the myth. So, where does this leave us with the bloodsucker legend? When critically examined, there's a notable absence of credible evidence supporting the existence of such a creature. No reputable scientific studies, no verified recordings, nothing that stands up to scrutiny. Many supposed sightings can be explained by common factors. Misidentification of wildlife, psychological effects, and hoaxes play significant roles. Being in a place known for its history and desolation can heighten fear and anxiety. Our minds can play tricks on us, interpreting shadows and sounds as threats. Experts, including local authorities and researchers, affirm that there's no basis to the bloodsucker stories. It's a fascinating tale, but one that doesn't hold up under the light of evidence. The allure of Chernobyl's mysteries. Why does this legend persist? There's something innately human about our fascination with the unknown. We seek out mysteries, perhaps as a way to confront our fears or to find excitement beyond the mundane. Chernobyl, with its tragic history and haunting landscape, serves as a perfect backdrop for such tales. The desolation invokes a sense of awe and unease. Dark tourism has grown in the area. People from around the world visit, driven by curiosity, a desire to understand history, or hoping to experience something out of the ordinary. These personal encounters and the stories people bring back contribute to the mythos, keeping legends like the bloodsucker alive in our collective consciousness. The legend of the bloodsucker of Chernobyl. A captivating one that taps into our deepest fears and the allure of the mysterious. But when we sift through the sensationalism and examine the facts, it becomes clear that this creature likely exists only in stories. That doesn't diminish its cultural significance. It's a reminder of the power of storytelling and how myths can influence perceptions. So next time you hear a sensational story, take a moment to question it. Dive deeper, seek out the facts, but also appreciate the creativity and human emotion behind the tales. What are your thoughts? Do you think there's a kernel of truth in the legend, or is it purely a product of imagination? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into mysteries and legends. Credits and acknowledgements. A huge thank you to all the researchers and experts whose work helped shed light on this topic. A big shout out to you, my awesome viewers, for your support and engagement. If you've got legends or mysteries you'd like me to explore, let me know. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.